It's raining, and it has been raining for a month now. Well, welcome to my Viking cabin. These are strange times, and it's good to have this place to where I can, you know, find peace and get away from it all, I guess. Well, lots of you have been asking about my friend Sturla, who is an historian and who was, I guess you could say, cancelled. He lost his job. So I'm going to include a chat I had with Sturla the other day in this video, so that Sturla can explain in his own words what happened. Now, I would like to say that I don't know every detail of Sturla's how he was cancelled and all that, and you know, there are always two sides to everything and all that, but I have no reason to doubt Sturla's words, not at all. I'm sorry, that beeping sound you heard there in the background, that's actually they are building, I think they're building over there, and it's really loud, you know. They are using some explosives and stuff over there, and that's part of the reason why we bought this entire property, and you know, to protect this area, to protect the wildlife and the trees and the plants. But anyway, yeah, so Sturla, he lost his job, and to me, you know, it seems very unfair. I must say that it seems unfair, but I'm going to let Sturla explain what happened in his own words. We took a walk in the woods and sat down and had a talk about what had happened. I find Sturla to be a very honest person. So I don't like what happened to him. I don't like the way he has been treated. But okay, before we go to our little talk, little chat, can I please ask you, if you haven't already, consider to subscribe to this channel. That will help the channel a lot, actually, and hit that bell so we get notified when I upload a new video. Okay. And there is also another thing. One of you guys have made a petition to have my novels published in English, and there is a link in the video description to that petition, and you can sign it if you want to. In the video description you will also find a link to Sturla's channel. Okay, let's go over to our little chat in the woods. Hi there, Sturla is here. And we're going to have a chat. We have been talking while we were walking up here, and what can I say, I think, you know, I have so many questions now. Why is there such a massive attack, an ongoing attack on Viking culture? And by that I mean, why is it that certain people are constantly trying to say that, well, you up there in Scandinavia, you never had your own culture, there never was a Viking as a people, the Norse, they were never a people even, and they didn't have their own culture. They were just a mix of people going up in Scandinavia, and everything about their culture was just import, nothing original, and basically you are nothing to be proud of, and if anything you should just be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, this is fear, and it's hysteria, and we've seen it actually a few times before. The concept of a Viking and the Viking culture and history has been attacked many times before. And in Norway we saw this in the late 60s and the 70s, and again a little bit in the 90s, and we see it again now. You know, it's like every 20 years around. But it's all got to do with, as a historian, I connect this with a little of the polarization that's going on in our society, and right now it's kind of extreme, where people only talk to or want to talk to people who agree with them, right? Disagreement, that's a no-no. And it's in this context that I've experienced something well, horrific for myself, for my career. But the thing is, if we look at it, if you look at, like you say, the truth or the core of the history, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Really, there's not. And on the contrary, the exports that the Vikings brought with them, that was a lot of good stuff, you know. I even made a video on that, on democracy, for example. That's actually an export that the Vikings brought with them, the Thing system, right? But there are many stuff like this. So there is this fear, and I was part of this in the discussion, or many discussions internally in this big Viking paper. So this one scholar, he said, what if we find something that can be misused by something that's not politically correct? Do we still write about it? You know, just to ask that question, man.
What do you mean? Aren't you scientists? You're supposed to bring the facts without being prejudiced, and you know, you're supposed to be objective and just, yeah, bring the facts.
And that's the thing. There was a discussion internally, and some of the researchers, which I have tremendous respect for, are much more experienced than myself, they said, never avoid mentioning scientific facts because of political reasons.
Yeah, you know, I've seen some incredible headlines saying that, for instance, they found a golden ring and it said God is great, you know, the Muslim thing, and that supposedly meant that all the Vikings were Muslims. It said, and to me that's it's laughable, and you need to read it twice to check if are they trying to just, is this a joke? Is this but lately I saw some something coming from your can I say associates?
Yeah, sure.
The guy who gave you a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
And I must say, my first thought was, is this just written to provoke people?
Why do we have to go there? I was thinking, because there's so much else in this Viking paper that was interesting, and I wanted to focus on that. But also in Scandinavia, the same professor, he was out in the media and said, only the Vikings, Viking was a profession, and it was only in the south of Scandinavia that they were, on Gotland, Åland, and in Denmark. The rest of Scandinavia were farmers, right? And then if you look on the map, anyone can go in the map in the paper and look on the map. You see there are no samples from the western fjords of Norway, where a lot of the Vikings went out towards the British Isles, especially, and down into the Irish Sea. And you can't, I mean, it's crazy to make that speculation or to say that in the media. I felt I had an obligation to at least for all Norwegians, to say something about that. But I was beheaded.
I understand that now you're a racist. I didn't know that. So how do you like life as a racist?
Yeah, thanks for calling me out. It felt like I was given a disease, and nobody wanted to touch me. This was just a few weeks ago, right? Suddenly I'm there. I've been involved in a lot of different projects with much more than 100 different researchers in so many different countries, and suddenly I'm out of all of these projects.
So you were cancelled, basically?
Yes. Just because I was on one YouTube channel, it was guilt by association ×2. Actually, it was actually. Yeah. So it was horrible accusations. But this is a good story that we're here for now, because I oppose this. I refuse to be labeled this way, and I experienced this as a threat, because they didn't go out publicly with this, right? They just shunned me and told everyone in all different projects at Sturla, you shouldn't talk to him anymore. Apparently there is this organization in the UK who's been the cause of this, who labels people and organizations you should avoid. You shouldn't talk to these people. I know a lot of other people do that in many other countries. In Norway too, there are people calling your employers if you post something wrong on your own Facebook page or in a discussion, public discussion. If you don't agree with the opposition, they can actually end up calling your employer, and that has happened to me twice. You know,
It's insane.
it's insane. That TV show I was on with this Hollywood actor, American Runestone. It's in Scandinavia now, but it's coming in the US in January actually. They got a call by this guy. I actually know who it is. He's a journalist, saying, "Oh, you should dump him. You shouldn't have him on because he's an extremist." And luckily, they call me and ask me, "Well, what is this accusation?" And I explain this very, very easily. And they say, "Okay, fine. We just wanted to ask," and that's good, you know. But it's horrible the way people go around doing this stuff, you know. And now it's happened again, and this time they got me. So I had to do this confrontation. I like it.
You know, I think racism is a horrible thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I know, of course, yes.
Just
we have talked
for the
about
fact.
this. I think it's a horrible thing, and I also think that when you blame people for when you use that term all over the place like that, loses
you
its
water it
meaning.
out. You water it out, right?
And that's not good at all, because it's, you know, I don't like racism. I never liked racism, and but you know, I think that these people doing this, they are actually they are projecting this. They are might be a little racist in that.
Well, it's sort of like the definition, or at least the fascism. If you don't agree with us, then you should be shunned. You should just not be able to participate. And if you advocate violence to support that, then that's the definition of fascism. What has happened now is that I saw this as some sort of watering out of the concept of being a Viking. The identity of Viking, or the culture, or the history of Vikings, this watering out. And I've seen it before, and once I see it, I have to speak out, and that's what I did. And they tried to behead me, and they actually did, but I put my head back on.
I'm very glad that you called it out, because we need to do that. And for me, personally, it means a lot. It's part of my identity to a very high degree. And lots of...
Mine too.
Yes, I know. And lots of the viewers here feel the same way. And we won't allow these people taking that away from us.
And the core here, I think, is there's nothing wrong about being proud of where you come from and your history and your past. That's actually a good thing, because it defines you and it helps you to live a better, sound life, and not feeling insecure or having fear fill your feelings. So you become so unstable that you become too sensitive to actually live a healthy and good and sound life.
Let me tell you one thing. I've made some videos on my channel about the Viking identity, what it means and all that. And in the comments, very interestingly, every time those who are, well, lots of people are supportive, of course, but those who are maybe the most supportive are people from the Native Americans, from the great nations, native nations in North America, because I think they understand. They've been through this, and they've had their culture tried, at least people try to take their culture and heritage away. So they understand maybe better than other people.
And I would say that maybe if you know about Viking culture and Viking history and Viking identity 1,000 years ago or 1,200 years ago, or the strong clan culture that went really far back into the Iron Age and backwards in time, if you know about these roots, the question can easily be asked, did they live more in harmony with nature and life than many of us do today? And that's actually a very good argument to seek that inner strength that you, or you can call it whatever you want. I call it an inner strength, but it can as easily be just a search in your roots or in a sort of Viking identity.
Before this video becomes a very long video, we'll just finish, and we will be, let's keep walking up the path there.
Let's do that.
We'll talk some more.